Guys, today we'll be going over how to get custom armor in Minecraft without using Optifine, any mods, or plugins to achieve so. So all we're using is a resource pack, so if we turn the resource pack off, we'll see that it is just leather armor dyed to look like different armor. And we're going to kind of go over how to, and I'll have a sample in the description because it does get a little complicated and I don't understand it fully, but that's okay. You can just play around with it and see what works. I'll kind of go over some of the things I do know and how we can get started on that. So if we go into our resource pack, I'll just make sure it is at the right format, pack 34. And back in one of the updates, it was 1.19.3. They kind of changed how resource packs needed an atlas folder. And this was really easy to do without the atlas folder, but now for this to work, we need an atlas folder and a shaders folder. So let's go into look in the textures. So inside of the textures, we should have models and our armor. And we want to make sure we have our template for our leather. This is our base leather. This is before it's dyed, so it should just be pure white. And then we need to make sure we have our leather layer 1 PNG, the overlay version PNG, and the leather layer 2. So this leather layer 1 is your helmet, chest plate, and boots. Leather 2 will be your leggings. And then we just want to make sure we have our overlay, which is just blank. So if we go ahead and open up this picture, we'll cut right to that. Okay, now that we have it opened, let's take a look at this now. On the far left, this is our base picture. This is the default of the leather that is purely white. So the code here should just be the purest form of, well, let's zoom in a little bit more and make sure we get the right color. So this is, yeah, just the pure form of white, FFFF for the hex color code. This is important. When we make our custom one, we do not change this one. This is our base one. What we do change is the ones next to it. And we can add on more of it, just make sure it's the correct dimensions when you crop it. Each of the pictures is a 64 by 32. No, I don't think that's right. Anyways, you can just play around with it. It's got to be a multiple of the correct one. If you just math that out, divide this one by 6, 384 by 6, and add that much more onto the width, I'm sure you can add another one to it. But the gist is, once you've created your textures that you desired, in order to actually get this in game, let's go ahead and cancel. We need to make sure we have the right color for this. So in order to do that, we use our color picker, and we want to make sure we get the color code for our helmet, the chest plate, and the boots. Once you do that, I kind of did it already for mine, and so I store them all on a little text document to see what it are. So for my skulk one, this is the color code for all of it except for the leggings. The leggings will be a little differently. And once you've identified it all, this will show up as the model, but the hand item, when you're holding the boots or the helmet or the chest plate in your hand, will be using a different picture format. If we go to textures and we go to custom, any of our picture ones will be a little different here, and that's what it'll look like when we're holding it in our hand or if it's in our inventory. This is the easy picture to make. You can just customize it however you wish. So that's the visualization of it. In order for it to work, though, we need to make sure we have Atlas. Inside of this will be a blocks.json. And this is kind of like your way of telling Minecraft how you would like them to direct to the resource packs to load. And you can kind of look up what a Atlas folder is and what it really does, but all this will do is make sure it's going to actually check for the resource files that we have in the game. And so it is going to be checking for all of our PNG files that were in our textures folder. underneath custom. So each one of these files references these PNG files in our atlas over here. The other one is the shaders. This one is the one I didn't really understand too much, but without this one, the main picture from here, this won't load properly without it. So just make sure that it is referencing it correctly. It doesn't necessarily reference to any specific names, so you could potentially just copy paste this into your own when you edit the textures of what the picture, this PNG looks like. I don't know, I've never opened a .fish. Yeah, I don't know what these do. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me. And then the other part is models. So this is kind of how we get the handheld items to work. We need to make sure they have a custom model data. And then also, on top of when you're wearing the armor, it needs to reference an armor model. And unfortunately, without using Optifine or a mod or a plugin, you can't change what boots, chestplate, or leggings the actual model looks like. It can only just be a reskin of the default Minecraft model. For the helmet, you can use like a carved pumpkin to make a custom model for it. I've done that in the past and it works out pretty easily. So this is the area where we're going to reference our custom model data. So if we go back to our note sheet, our CMD is the custom model data. So we just kept all the sculk to be 5, which is where we see our custom model data right here, to be number 5. So once you actually have this, how do you get the items in game? Well, let's make sure we have this texture pack on. So if we go back in and we add in our sample, and then all we have to do is, once we've identified and used our color picker to find our color codes, and we used our .json files for all the other ones to find what our custom model data is, we just combine those two in a give command. So if we are looking for, let's say, the sculk set, we know that the custom model data was 5, and this is a dyed color, and we want to make sure it is the exact match, otherwise it will not show up. So let's just go ahead and copy this color code, paste it in here, and once we go ahead and give ourselves that, we see that it shows up in person correctly, and the model shows up correctly on the player. And that's going to do it for today. That's pretty much all I know. You can kind of play around with it as you go and try to figure it out. But yeah.